Amazing twist. 7-year-old girl discovers incredible truth about mom's delay on blind date. Emma sat on the back porch, her little feet swinging back and forth, the sun warming the nape of her neck as she nibbled on her peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Between bites, her gaze wandered through the glass door over to the kitchen table, where her mother, Sarah, sat alone, scrolling through her phone. Thick shadows began to creep across the room, swallowing the light and revealing something unsettling about Sarah's smile, one that always seemed brave yet carried an unshakable weariness behind it. Since the divorce, Sarah had been Emma's entire world, pouring every ounce of energy into nurturing her daughter's dreams while quietly sacrificing her own. Emma couldn't ignore the unsettling feeling that even on the happiest days of laughter, something was deeply amiss. Over the last few months, well-meaning friends had arranged numerous blind dates for Sarah, only for her to sidestep each one with excuses that never settled right in Emma's heart. "Maybe next time," or "I'm just too busy right now," she would say, but Emma saw through the cracks that formed in her mother's voice. With innocence and determination mixed into a cocktail of emotions, Emma decided it was time to understand why. Her quest began quietly as she sifted through old photo albums, dusty art supplies, and forgotten sketches tucked beneath her bed. In the dim light of her room, the vibrant canvases began to reveal a truth that stirred something deep within her. Sarah had once painted with fiery passion, her colors capturing joy and heartache in equal measure. But those dreams had been buried beneath the weight of bills and responsibilities, leaving only a faint whisper of what was once a vibrant life. The realization knotted in Emma's chest. The sacrifices made were unspoken, yet palpably heavy on their family. Needing to know more, Emma found herself at Mrs. Engelman's porch, the elderly neighbor with a warm smile who often knitted quietly in the afternoons. With a plate of vintage cookies, Mrs. Engelman told Emma stories that shaped her understanding of bravery and loss. "You see, dear," she said, her voice soft yet strong, "sometimes we wear our struggles in silence, thinking we're protecting those we love, but in truth it can divide us even more." Emma felt the fear seed itself within her. Could her mother be hiding something that would shatter their fragile bond? But when Emma stumbled upon a faded letter buried beneath the art supplies, her heart raced. The ink told a tale of a long-lost love, cloaked in longing, feelings left unexpressed because of life's cruel timing. Confusion and frustration bubbled in her chest. How could Sarah suppress these emotions all this time? Did the ghosts of her past still haunt her? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. Steeling herself, Emma approached her mother, who was now rinsing dinner dishes in the sink. "Mom, can we talk?" she asked, her tiny voice barely a whisper, laced with apprehension. As Sarah turned to face her, Emma locked eyes with a world of subdued grief. "Why won't you go out, Mom?" The question hung between them, thick with unspoken fears and untold truths. They stood in that moment, both suspended in a web of love and sorrow. Emma's heart pounded as unresolved questions proliferated between them, each whispering for clarity. Would her mother ever reveal the weight she carried? The pressure thickened, leaving both mother and daughter standing on the precipice of discovery, poised to confront a past that threatened to engulf them both. The air grew stale as the silence stretched between them, each heartbeat loud enough to echo in Emma's ears. Sarah's stone-like expression faltered for just a fleeting moment, her eyes glistening with the threat of unshed tears. Emma felt a pull of intensity, a crossroads where vulnerability met a child's fierce loyalty. "I need to know," she insisted, her small frame steadying as if her very muscles were fueled by a resolve not typical for a girl her age. Sarah's breath hitched, and in the brief, agonizing interval, Emma sensed the weight of years lost and emotions stowed away like forgotten toys. "Maybe I haven't been brave," Sarah finally murmured, her voice trembling as she turned the faucet off, droplets splattering against porcelain, a sound that felt uncomfortably loud. "What do you mean?" Emma pressed, feeling that something significant was about to unravel. Her mother's avoidance had not only clouded their lives with questions, but it had also shrouded Sarah's own identity, her ghostly past casting a shadow over their present. Sarah crossed her arms protectively, her shoulders slumping under an invisible burden. "Sometimes I think loving someone means sacrificing your own happiness," she began slowly, her gaze drifting to the window where the glass captured her own reflection, a tired woman shadowed by decisions made in solitude. "Who told you that?" Emma asked, fisting her hands to resist the urge to reach out. The last thing she wanted was for her mother to think her affection was a weight. A bitter laugh escaped Sarah's lips as she turned from the sink, finally facing Emma fully. No one had to. The raw honesty struck Emma like a gust of wind. "When things collapsed, I thought I had to put everything aside. And maybe I lost a part of me in the process." The vulnerability resonated with Emma, evoking a deep sense of empathy. Just as Sarah's grief cracked through the surface, Emma became acutely aware of her mother's need for healing. No longer content to be an observer of her mother's shadows, Emma felt a fire sparking within. Perhaps this moment could change everything. If her mother had relegated her own desires to a back seat, maybe it was time for Emma to help steer the wheel. "Then we can find that part of you again," she said solemnly, her youthful voice filled with conviction. "You don't have to stay alone." Emma's proclamation, innocent yet potent, stirred something ancient within Sarah. For the first time, it seemed as if a glimmer of awareness flickered in her eyes, an acknowledgement that change was possible, that the past didn't have to dictate the future. "But where do I even start?" Sarah asked, her eyebrows knitting together in a worried expression. "Let's start right here, right now. We can paint together," Emma replied, gesturing toward the neglected art supplies strewn across the floor. "It's time to let go of the stuff you've been holding on to." With every word, Emma felt like a force of nature. Alternatively frightened yet tenacious, she pushed against the wall that had formed between them, determined to deconstruct it brick by brick. As Sarah hesitated, Emma could see fear mingling with longing behind her mother's eyes. The balance tilted, the potential for a new chapter brewing in the air, filling the space with an electric possibility. Would Sarah embrace the invitation? Would she risk the delicate web of emotions weaving between them in pursuit of something more? Emma, brimming with anticipation, realized this wasn't just about helping her mother. It was also a pivotal moment for her own growth. This confrontation encapsulated the beauty of their relationship, one teetering on the brink of rediscovery and healing. The moment hung heavy, suspended in a breathless silence. With the weight of their fears and hopes colliding, they both prepared themselves for the leap into uncharted territory. "Mom," Emma began, her voice a whisper, the continuation of their journey hanging before them like a promise. What awaited them on the other side of this conversation? The quiet lingered, an uncomfortable shroud between them, until Sarah's shoulders sagged like a deflated balloon, the weight of her years pressing down hard. "Maybe you're right," she finally replied, her voice barely above a murmur, but the earnestness in her tone ignited a flicker of hope in Emma. "I guess I've been holding on to the past long enough." Emma's heart raced, exhilaration surging through her. This was it, the pivotal moment she had yearned for. She could sense the stirring of change, like the first stirrings of spring after a long, cold winter. "Then let's make something beautiful together," she insisted. "We can use the colors to express what we've been afraid to say." As Sarah picked up the brush, the tendrils of fear wrestled within her, battling the desire for expression. Emma watched her mom closely, noting the slight tremor in Sarah's hand as she dipped it in paint. This was not just a creative act, it was an invitation to confront emotions too long stifled. "Think of a color that represents how you feel," Emma encouraged, her voice mismatched with her own buzzing internal dialogue. She felt alive with purpose, a palpable tension racing in her veins. Sarah's eyes flitted between the colors, almost distractedly, as if attempting to uncover a buried treasure. I don't know," she admitted, her indecision looming like a thick fog. Emma took a quiet breath, allowing her instincts to guide her. "Let's pick a color together," she suggested. She picked up a bold shade of blue. "This one feels like a mix of sadness and strength to me." A slow smile teased the corners of Sarah's mouth, and for just a moment she seemed like the young woman who had once fiercely navigated the world. "Maybe we should add some yellow then. It feels hopeful." Emma beamed. "Hope is powerful. Let's do it." As they began painting, each stroke became an act of defiance against the silence that had ruled their lives. Splashes of blue and yellow danced across the canvas, each color embodying unspoken words and buried feelings. The room transformed as bursts of light emerged from their creative endeavor. Emma sensed the cathartic release in her mother, an unfurling that mirrored her own blossoming confidence. Each dip of the brush was a step forward, a layered exploration of history that spoke of hurt but also of healing. Yet, in the midst of this newfound freedom, a shadow still loomed over Sarah. A thin layer of hesitation lingered, whispering doubt about whether she could face the reality of her past. "I've always been afraid of disappointing you," Sarah finally confessed, her voice shaky as she studied the canvas. "What if I can't start over?" Emma paused, her heart aching at the revelation. "Then we take it one step at a time, together," she assured her, channeling all the determination she felt. "It's okay to have fears, Mom. We just have to face them." In that moment, Emma confronted her own feelings too, realizing she harbored doubts about her capability to lead. Could she help her mother break free, or was she just a child in these murky waters that both terrified and excited her? A flicker of understanding crossed Sarah's face, though she didn't voice it. Instead, she reached for the yellow paint, a symbol of newfound courage. "Okay," she whispered, a resolve echoing in her tone. "Let's embrace the mess then." As they continued painting, Emma understood this journey would not only illuminate Sarah's shadows, but also reshape her own sense of worth and identity. But then, as the colors collided on the canvas, a sharp knock interrupted their rhythm. The moment frozen, lights dimmed, breaths held. Who could it be? Emma's heart raced with trepidation. Would it be the past coming back to haunt them, or a new opportunity? "Let's find out," Sarah said, glancing back at Emma, a mixture of fear and determination brimming in her eyes. The stakes elevated. This was no longer just about art. It was about unlocking a future. The door creaked open, and Emma's heart sank or soared. Either way, nothing would be the same again. As the door creaked open, Emma's heart thudded. The silhouette in the doorway was familiar. It was Matt, an old friend, but the aura surrounding him was charged with an unexpected energy. She had seen him around town, but they hadn't truly connected in years. Today, in the midst of their artful exploration, his sudden appearance felt like an interruption of a delicate dance. "Hey, Emma," he said, a tentative smile breaking through his uncertainty. "I hope I'm not interrupting anything."
Emma exchanged a glance with Sarah. Her mother's face had transformed, the warmth from their creative session giving way to a frosty facade that hinted at unease. "Not at all," Emma replied, though the tremor in her voice betrayed her excitement and anxiety. "Just painting." "Wow, I'd love to see it," Matt said, stepping further inside. He seemed genuinely interested, but Emma couldn't shake the feeling that his presence might unravel the fragile shift that had just begun to strengthen between her and her mother. "It's a work in progress," Sarah said, her tone clipped. "What brings you here?" "Actually, I came by to ask if you'd like to join me for that upcoming gallery opening," he said, his eyes shifting between the two of them, seeking support from both sides. "I think it could be good for you, Sarah, to get out and showcase your work. I hear there will be other artists there too." Emma watched her mother, searching for an indication of enthusiasm, but noticed only the tightening of her jaw. Would Sarah take this opportunity to step out of her comfort zone? The fear of standstill seemed to cling to her mother, and it made Emma feel small and powerless. "I don't know," Sarah began, her voice perfectly wavering between reluctance and curiosity. "I haven't shown anything in years. What if—" "Mom," Emma interjected, her desire for her mother to succeed battling against her own fears. "This could be the perfect first step. You were always the one encouraging me to share my art. Why not take your own advice?" The words hung in the air, so simple yet so weighty. Emma's pulse quickened as she sensed an unspoken tension between them, an echo of their past struggles dancing just below the surface. Matt remained quiet, but the tension in the room shifted. Maybe he was what Sarah needed, a friendly nudge outside her familiar walls. Maybe this was a chance for Sarah to remember the passionate artist she had once been, rather than the shadowy figure weighed down by regrets. "Can you go with me?" Sarah finally asked Matt, her voice steadying. Emma's heart soared. There it was, a glimmer of willingness. "Maybe."
"I'll start with a piece that speaks to where I am now." "Of course," Matt replied, relief washing over his features. "I'd love to help." As they spoke about the gallery, Emma felt a wave of conflict inside her. She had fought for her mother to step into her light, but what about herself? The anticipation of that opening hung like a cloud, her own aspirations to showcase her work battling with the fear that she had relied too heavily on her mother's difficulties. "Hey, what about you, Emma?" Matt suddenly asked, looking expectantly at her. "Are you going to show any of your work?" Emma hesitated. She had not anticipated the question, a curveball that sent a jolt through her. She had focused so much on Sarah's journey that she had neglected her own. She began, but faltered, her thoughts racing. Could she step into the spotlight, even if her mother was still finding her way? "Emma, you need to embrace this too," Sarah urged unexpectedly, her gaze piercing through Emma's hesitation. "I can't be the only one making this leap." The room felt charged, as if the very air was pregnant with the possibility of growth. Emma's stomach twisted as the weight of the moment bore down on her. "I suppose I could," she finally said, each word demanding an investment of courage. Matt nodded, enthusiasm rekindled. "That's the spirit. Let's make some plans then." Yet even as they spoke about the gallery, Emma felt an undercurrent of dread. While she desperately wanted this moment to be a triumphant launch, a nagging feeling bowed down her excitement. What if her own fears held her back from achieving her goals? As they made plans, the uncertainty nested deeper within Emma's heart. The room that had felt liberated only minutes ago now felt restrictive, its walls echoing with everything left unsaid. Just then, Sarah turned to her, eyes glimmering with a complex blend of hope and vulnerability. The moment felt like a precipice. Both women stood on the edge of transformation, yet shadows of self-doubt threatened to pull them back down. "Mom," Emma ventured, the question on her lips lingering in the air, ripe with significance. "What are you really afraid of?" Would Sarah confront her fears and allow this opportunity to lead them both into the light?
The weight of their unspoken words hung between them, and Emma braced herself for the answer that might change everything yet again. Emma felt the air thicken between her and her mother, an opportunity hanging precariously in the balance. The question she posed echoed in the silence, resonating not only through their shared history, but deep within herself. Would Sarah acknowledge her own hurdles, or would this be another chance squandered, swallowed by anxiety? A flicker of understanding crossed Sarah's face, melting some of the icy tension that had held them hostage. "I guess," she began, words trembling but emerging with a tentative strength, "I've been so focused on the fear of failure."
What if no one likes what I create? What if it reminds me of all that I've left behind? Emma's heart sank momentarily, struck by how intimately their fears mirrored one another. This moment revealed a line drawn between the hope of unveiling their artistry and the choking claustrophobia of despair. Could Sarah's acknowledgement of her hesitation become an anchor for Emma to confront her own? Matt's presence, once a nerve-wracking element, now felt comforting as he remained in the background, quietly processing their exchange. Emma could grasp his supportive energy extending over her like a warm blanket. It was time for action, for a shared journey that propelled them forward. But first, they needed to dig deeper. "Mom, what if showing your work isn't about being good enough? What if it's simply about sharing your story, your truth?" Emma ventured, her voice taking on an urgency that surprised her. "We can use this opportunity to just be ourselves, without pretense." Sarah's brow furrowed, grappling with the weight of her daughter's words. The battle against vulnerability flared within her, and even though the fear was palpable, Emma could see the flickers of resolve within her mother's eyes. "And what about you, Emma? You seem to be on the same path. Are you ready to display your own story?" Emma faltered again, a heavy ball of conflict tightening in her gut. Her mother's question returned her focus to the personal doubts she had tried to subdue in the excitement of Sarah's possible progress. How could she inspire her mother while suppressing her artistic aspirations? It felt hypocritical. "I haven't really finished anything I feel proud of," Emma admitted, her voice softening. "But I think if you're willing to take this leap, maybe I should too." A wave of understanding washed over Sarah, a realization that perhaps their fears could drive them forward instead of holding them back. We could support each other, and even if it's scary, that might be enough. Emma's pulse quickened at the thought. Could vulnerability indeed be a strength? She was filled with determination as she began to envision herself in that gallery, displaying not just art, but pieces of her own journey. Taking a deep breath, she nodded at her mom. "Let's do it then, together." Just then, her phone buzzed aggressively on the table, breaking the moment's intensity. Emma felt a tight coil of anxiety snap as she reached for it, sensing deep down that this distraction would reposition their conversation toward uncharted territory. Upon glancing at the screen, her heartbeat thundered in her ears. It was a text message from an old mentor, inviting her for coffee to discuss an opportunity that might change everything, the chance to showcase her work in a nearby city. The excitement danced in her stomach, but dread quickly followed. She couldn't just abandon her mother now. As Emma composed her response, she felt the room shifting again. Could pursuing this opportunity mean leaving Sarah behind? Or perhaps could it be a catalyst for them both to rise? "Everything okay?" Matt asked, conscious of Emma's sudden tension as his eyes shifted between the two women. A weighty choice hovered before Emma, one that could affect their evolving bond forever. I don't know," she replied, biting her lip.
Sarah watched, brows tucked and tense, a flicker of fear mingling with excitement. The question still lingered. Would they both step out into the light and support each other? Or would the shadows of doubt pull them back into silence? The answer to that question loomed, vital and uncertain, as they stood at the precipice of change. Emma's heart raced anew, feeling the pressure of her decision knot in her chest. Would she embrace movement or retreat into fear? "Mom," she called out, her voice now steely with determination. "What if your first piece is about how you truly feel? The fear, the hope, the journey we both face? How do we find the courage to dive into our art without losing each other?" Faced with her mother's gaze, Emma knew this was only the beginning. The moment held profound promise, but would they leap together into the unknown? Would they navigate through vulnerability and push toward their passions? Or would they remain submerged in the echoes of doubt? As they stood there, a single realization burned brightly. The gallery was just the first step on a far more complicated journey that lay ahead, intertwining their stories in ways they had yet to comprehend. Emma felt a surge of resolution wash over her, yet confusion still nagged at the edges of her thoughts. The thrill of potential fueled her determination, but dwelling on her mother's fears brought her back to a sobering reality. They stood on the brink of artistic revival, yet the shadows of doubt loomed larger than the flicker of hope. As she sent her reply to the mentor, the tremors of her anxiety cascaded into a whirlwind of possibilities. What if this opportunity ignited not just her career, but shifted their entire relationship? Emma imagined her art held up to scrutiny, her vulnerability on open display. What would it mean for Sarah? Would it inspire or scare her back into retreat? "Are you going to take the meeting?" Matt's probing tone broke into her spiral. Emma glanced at him, a flicker of fear and excitement chasing each other across her face. "I want to," she confessed, her voice trembling slightly. "But I can't do it alone, not when Mom is just starting to move forward." Matt nodded, understanding flashing in his eyes. "But you're moving too, Emma. It's not about abandoning her. It's about spreading your wings. She might need your courage." The clarity in his words resonated, but Emma still felt the weight of obligation pressing down on her. What if I succeed and she doesn't? What if I leave her behind? Matt's gaze remained steady. "Wouldn't it? Would it better if you both find out what you're capable of? You could lift each other up." With every word, Emma wrestled with the notion of empowerment over fear. It was time to shatter the walls of silence that had confined both her and her mother. But could Sarah handle Emma's burgeoning independence? Would they fly in tandem or tear apart at the seams? "I think you both can find strength together," he added gently, "but you have to take that initial step yourself." Emma's grip on her phone tightened, grappling with the push and pull of ambition against familial devotion. The text lay in wait like a loaded weapon. It symbolized everything she yearned for, yet also threatened everything she held dear. Perhaps her voice could be the thread that stitched their aspirations together, creating a canvas of hope rather than separation. "Mom," she began again, her heart pounding in her chest, "what if we help each other take these leaps, however small? I can go to my meeting and we can set a time to work on our art together afterward. It doesn't have to be one or the other." A flicker of vulnerability crossed Sarah's face, an unguarded moment that brought forth both fear and longing. "Could we really do that?" she asked softly. "Support each other through our insecurities?" Emma stepped closer, wanting to reach across the space that divided them. "I think we can. We've both faced that fear for too long without the courage to confront it. If you fight through your doubts, I can learn to do the same." For the first time, Emma saw a spark of something new in her mother, a glimmer of possibility. "You may be right. Our voices, our stories, they're intertwined. Maybe separate journeys don't have to mean isolation." The conversation shifted, the room's energy intertwining with their budding resolve. Emma felt a renewed sense of purpose, the looming chance of her exhibition momentarily forgotten in light of their emerging alliance. But deep down, a question bubbled beneath the surface, undeterred by the moment's beauty. Could they manage to hold each other up, no matter how personal their paths diverged? Was this unity a foundation strong enough to withstand the crumbling self-doubt that had haunted them for years? As they solidified plans to collaborate after Emma's meeting, a piece of knowledge settled within her, a conviction that she could brave the unknown while allowing Sarah to trace her own artistic footprint. But as the thrill of coordinating their futures wrapped around them, Emma couldn't escape the nagging anticipation for that coffee meeting. The thrills of potential balanced precariously against her responsibilities, and the day unfolded with uncertainty. Would the meeting deliver results or drown her back into self-doubt? With her phone still clutched tightly, Emma understood that clarity began with a single decision. As she took a deep breath, readying herself for the next chapter in their intertwining stories, the weight of anticipation hung in the air.
For her to challenge the legacy of silence had arrived, and soon she would have to choose, face her fears or retreat into the shadows. But the choice would push boundaries yet unseen, and as she stepped out into the world, the reflection of her own opportunity ignited a question deep within. Who would she become when she finally embraced her truth? Emma's heart raced as she pushed open the cafe door, the aroma of roasted coffee mingling with the faint chatter of patrons, creating a buzz that almost drowned out her nerves. This was not just a meeting, it was a stark confrontation with her aspirations, an endeavor to unearth her potential wrapped in fear and excitement. As she positioned herself at a corner table, she fiddled with her phone, resisting the urge to text her mother. Instead, she forced her fingers to still, reminding herself that this was a moment just for her. The mentor she was about to meet was someone she admired deeply, the very embodiment of artistry mixed with success. What would he think of her work? Would he see the rawness she felt? Would he sense the artist's heartbeat within her, thrumming with uncertainty but yearning to break free? When the mentor arrived, Emma's tension sharpened into focus. He greeted her with warmth and enthusiasm, yet beneath that charisma, she sensed their mutual awareness of the threshold she faced. They settled into conversation, the exchange flowing between flattery and constructive criticism. Each compliment felt like a small candle flickering against the encroaching dark of self-doubt, warming her resolve. But as the conversation deepened, so did her self-in-question. Every question he posed nudged her into introspection. What was her voice? What did her art truly mean to her? The questions spiraled, forcing her to confront her authenticity head-on. Each response she crafted felt like peeling back layers of herself she had long kept hidden. "Why do you create?" he asked, his eyes keen and piercing. The moment hung there, unyielding. Emma felt the walls closing in, but instead of retreating, she leaned into the discomfort. "I create to understand myself," she replied, surprising even herself with the raw honesty. "I think I've spent so long trying to fit into everyone else's expectations that I forgot what I want to say. My art it's my truth." His nod of approval sent heat through her cheeks, but it was quickly quelled by the nagging thought of her mother. Would this revelation upset the balance they had just begun to cultivate? Would Sarah feel overshadowed by Emma's burgeoning autonomy? "Your truth is your greatest asset," her mentor responded. "Don't be afraid to let it shine. You must trust it. It will resonate with others in ways you cannot yet predict." With each exchange, Emma discovered courage in her vulnerability. The fledgling confidence fueled her resolve to step beyond her mother's fears and into her own light. Soon, the meeting came to a close, leaving her with a troubling brilliance, a newfound understanding of herself that felt both exhilarating and terrifying.
She could no longer ignore the path laid out before her. It was time to embrace both her voice and her vision. As she left the cafe, the weight of anticipation shifted. The worry about Sarah, while still present, felt less constraining. Emma made her way home, her mind racing with ideas and aspirations. But upon entering, the warm atmosphere of home turned tense. Sarah stood in the living room, paintbrush poised, her expression a mixture of pride and worry. "How did it go?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. Emma hesitated, the words caught in her throat. She could tell Sarah wanted to hear excitement, but in that moment she felt the weight of her truth pressing against her. "It was enlightening," Emma replied cautiously, sensing the tension inside herself. "I really faced some truths about my art." A flicker of fear crossed Sarah's face, mirroring some of Emma's own insecurities. "And how do you feel about that?" In that moment, Emma grappled with what to share. Would it empower or burden her mother? What if her own growth led to disconnect instead of unity? As silence encapsulated the space between them, Emma understood that she would need to navigate this new terrain with care. They were both on paths of discovery, but how would they manage the complexities that arose from personal growth? Emma took a breath, ready to bridge the gap. "Mom, I want to share everything I learned." But deep down, she knew the hardest question loomed larger than ever. Would they truly support each other in their individuality, or would fear dictate their journey? The threads of their relationship tugged taut, each waiting for the other's response, as Emma felt the enormity of the moment. The clarity she had found in her meeting was nearly palpable, but the weight of her truth demanded to be unpacked carefully. Would embracing her truth deepen their connection, or would it unravel the delicate fabric of their relationship? That uncertainty lingered, urging Emma to confront both her art and her mother, with honesty in a way that could redefine their bond. Emma's heart thudded as she awaited Sarah's response, the air thick with unspoken words. She sensed the pivotal moment before them, a crossroads that could either spawn greater intimacy or drive them further apart. It was clear to her now that sharing her experiences, although daunting, was crucial for both their growth. But how to convey that reality weighed heavily on her like a damp cloak. "Emma," Sarah finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "You know that whatever you want to share, I'm here for that, right?" The sincerity in her mother's eyes invited a sense of softness, yet Emma could feel the tether of fear winding tighter around their relationship. Would sharing her newfound understanding inspire support or invoke jealousy? "Mom, I realize today that I've been creating just to please others instead of staying true to myself. My art needs to be a reflection of who I really am," Emma began, measuring each word carefully. She was astonished by her own clarity, yet treading lightly through the delicate complexities of their bond felt paramount. "I've spent so long trying to understand what you wanted me to be in your eyes that I've almost forgotten who I wanted to be," she continued, feeling the weight of revelation alongside the thrill of honesty. Emma studied her mother's reaction, and for a split second she glimpsed fear flicker again. Sarah looked as though she was holding her breath, the paintbrush wavering in her grasp. "Does that mean you don't want to do this with me anymore?" Sarah's voice trembled, a vulnerable quaver that resonated deep within Emma's chest. It was a question rooted in both love and insecurity, and it gnawed at Emma's newfound courage. "No, it's not that at all," Emma rushed to reassure her. "I want us to grow together, but I need to discover my own voice first. I need to explore my art without being tied to the expectations around me." Emma's heart swelled as she glanced at her mother, seeing beyond the trepidation into the depths of yearning. Sarah was yearning for connection, and yet tethered in her own fears of inadequacy. Both women, entangled in their aspirations, were now vulnerable, but poised to be open to one another. "Then let's explore together," Sarah proposed, her voice steadier now. "I want us both to find our truths." The proposal set a fresh wave of excitement through Emma, and the pulse of possibility quickened. Their willingness to embrace the unknown, to anchor themselves in their individualities, felt transformative. Yet a lingering, nagging thought clawed at her mind. How would they both deal with external pressures that threatened their goals, expectations from friends, or criticism within the art community? "I think we should start small," Emma suggested slowly, feeling a sense of direction unfold. "What if we each commit to creating one piece that represents what our individual truth looks like?" Sarah nodded, visibly warming to the idea as her apprehension began to dissipate. "I love that, Emma. It'll be like our own little challenge." The thought sparked both excitement and fear in Emma, leaving her both exhilarated and uncertain. This challenge meant no safety net, fully embracing authenticity in their work. She felt a jolt of responsibility, realizing it would require vulnerability and real introspection. What if what they created didn't resonate with the other? What if the truth they unearthed was painful? "Let's set a date then," Emma suggested, suppressing the swirling apprehensions that threatened to undermine their tentative promise. "We'll present our pieces to each other. No judgment, just honesty." A mingling of anxiety and eagerness churned as Sarah smiled, a renewed light in her demeanor. "It's a deal, Emma." As they began to formulate plans for their respective creations, Emma's mind drifted back to her mentor's words. Trusting her truth would
resonate beyond her own understanding. Suddenly, she felt the weight of possibilities expanded before her. Each stroke of paint could signify a step toward a profound self-discovery, both for her and her mother. But would this endeavor bring them closer? Or would the revelations hidden deep in their creations disrupt the fragile equilibrium of their relationship? As excitement intertwined with anxious anticipation, Emma felt the delicate balance between creation and vulnerability shift beneath her. One thing was clear: the journey ahead promised to be as intricate as the canvases they would present, filled with both trials and triumphs. And just when Emma thought she had found her footing, a flicker of doubt surged. Could she truly expose her inner self without losing what she cherished most? With a determined heart, she stared out the window, contemplating the challenges ahead. The looming deadline weighed heavily on her thoughts, like a distant storm gathering strength. Emma understood. The true moment of reckoning was yet to arrive. Emma stood in the quiet of her studio, surrounded by half-finished canvases and scattered tubes of paint. The scent of turpentine lingered in the air, mingling with the tension that seemed to envelop her thoughts. Today marked the beginning of her individual challenge, and unpredictable emotions twisted within her like a tempest. She had dedicated her life to creating art, yet often the pieces felt discordant, overshadowed by the pressure of expectations. Now, with her commitment to authenticity, the stakes felt unnervingly high. Gazing at the blank canvas before her, Emma wondered where to begin. The enormity of her task loomed like a dark cloud. "What do I want to express?" she whispered to herself, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. The fear of inadequacy loitered just out of sight, a constant whisper that reminded her of prior failures, of art that had felt hollow. As days unfolded into one another, Emma wrestled with the foundation of her inspiration. In the evenings, she observed her mother working on her own piece, crouched over her easel, lost in concentration. There was an effortless grace in Sarah's movements, a tangible passion that Emma envied. But instead of inspiration, it often incited jealousy. What if Sarah's truth was stronger, more profound than her own? Each brushstroke her mother made became a source of self-doubt for Emma. Her own canvas seemed to mock her. In a moment of desperation, Emma reached out to her mentor, a chance at guidance that could potentially illuminate her path. "It feels like I'm on the brink of something, but I'm scared of what I'll find," she admitted in a phone call, her voice trembling slightly. Her mentor's words were steady, cutting through the noise of uncertainty. "Use that fear as your guide, Emma. Sometimes what you fear can show you the truth you're avoiding. Dig deeper. Ask yourself what it is you want to say." The conversation propelled Emma forward, igniting a flicker of determination. That evening, instead of allowing her fears to win, she began to sketch. Images of moments untouched filled the page. Her childhood memories splashed vividly with conflicting colors. The light of her first painting felt like an approach to uncovering a truth she feared. Each pencil stroke was fraught with emotion, laden with what had been unsaid between her and Sarah. Vulnerability twisted like a vine around her heart, propelling her to identify the chaos of her feelings and articulate it on canvas. Yet, as she unwrapped layers of her past, insecurities spiraled. What if Sarah didn't understand? What if, in unveiling these pieces of herself, it created an irreparable rift? Emma's thoughts raced as she knotted her hair into a loose bun, determined to stay anchored to her resolve. Days turned into nights and back into days, her urgency evident in the frantic energy she poured into her work. Night after night, she pushed herself, driven by an innate desire to present something authentic, a piece that wouldn't just be a representation of her skill, but a window into her soul. The process became cathartic, a wrestling match between her self-perception and external validation. But just as she felt the tide turning, dread crept in once more. Doubt twisted the framing of her newfound revelations. Would this piece be enough? As she lay in bed one evening, her eyes flickered over the pieces scattered throughout her room. "What if this isn't your truth at all?" whispered that inner critic. That single question echoed in the silence, gnawing at her determination. Emma squeezed her eyes shut, enveloped in darkness, contemplating her worthiness as an artist. A week had crawled by since their initial promise, and with the deadline looming closer, Emma sensed both thrill and dread intensifying within her. Steeling herself for the inevitable presentation felt insurmountable. Relief and apprehension coalesced into a storm. What would happen if her mother's truth collided with her own? With her heart racing, Emma turned to face the canvas, knowing full well the next brushstroke could alter everything. What awaited her she couldn't yet fathom, but she had made a promise to herself, to her art, and to Sarah. Never had the stakes felt so real. This could either bring them together or shatter the very foundation of their bond. And just then, the insistent hum of her phone broke the silence. A message from Sarah appeared on the screen. "Can we talk?" Emma's breath caught. The underlying tone hinted towards something heavier, a storm gathering in her mother's heart that she had yet to uncover. Was it about their art or something deeper? Emma's heart raced as she prepared herself for what lay ahead. The conversation was necessary, no matter where it would lead. Would they face each other's truths head-on, or would the vulnerability break them? Emma's heartbeat quickened with each step she took toward the living room, where Sarah sat quietly, her canvas casting shadows that mirrored the emotions swirling between them. The air was thick with unspoken thoughts. They had navigated their individual challenges, yet until now, they had kept the door to their inner worlds partially ajar. Would this be the moment they fully opened it? "Mom," Emma ventured, the weight of her own artistic struggles pressing down on her shoulders. "What's on your mind?" Sarah looked up, her eyes revealing a mixture of apprehension and hope. She gestured toward the couch, inviting Emma to join her. "I've been thinking about our promise to share our truths and what that means for us." Emma settled beside her, the couch enveloping them in familiarity. "Me too. I'm nervous about what we've each created," she confessed, her stomach tightening. "It feels like the stakes are really high."
I know, Sarah agreed, her voice steady but laced with the tremor of vulnerability. I've poured everything into my piece, but I keep questioning whether it's enough, if it will resonate. It feels intimidating. The confession created an immediate bond, a connection through shared concerns. Emma nodded, concerned yet emboldened. I feel the same way. My inner critic keeps shouting that I'm not good enough, but when I really look at it, I know that I'm trying to uncover something real. Every word ignited something within Sarah. The layers of apprehension began to melt away. That's probably a good thing, Emma. Finding your voice, uncovering your truth. The process is never easy, but it's important. The conversation stirred an intricate dance of understanding, a push and pull of their mutual fears, morphing into something greater. Emma took a deep breath, feeling the tide of resolve rising. What if, she ventured, we share our pieces with each other tonight? No judgment, just openness. Sarah's eyes glimmered with recognition. Yes, I want to hear your voice, Emma. Let's do it. With a surge of adrenaline, Emma got up and moved to her studio, a place that, until this moment, had felt more like a battleground than an explorative space. With her hands shaking slightly, she fetched her piece, a vibrant canvas embodying the chaos of her thoughts, the bright colors stark against dark tones, merging into an artistic representation of her innermost feelings. Okay, but remember, it's a work in progress, she stated, her voice barely above a whisper as she revealed it to her mother. Emma held her breath, watching the emotions ripple across Sarah's face. Wow, Sarah breathed, studying the piece intensely. This is raw. It feels like fire and ice at the same time. You've really captured something deep here. Tears threatened to spill over as recognition washed over Emma. Thank you, Mom. That means a lot. I feel like it's not just about the art, it's about everything we've been through together. The atmosphere shifted palpably, the weight of their individual struggles drawing them closer. Your turn, Emma encouraged, her enthusiasm pulling Sarah back to the moment. With a similar tenderness, Sarah unveiled her own creation, a piece harmonizing soft hues with bold strokes, depicting the fragility and resilience she had felt throughout her journey. It was a vivid representation of renewal,